What's up, it's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and today I'm naming my dream team for the US Men's National Team September call-ups. This is my personal wish list. This isn't a prediction. I'll be doing predictions probably tomorrow. And yeah, this is what I'd really like to see the national team bring in. I'm going with 31 players. I want this to be a big squad. 5 of them are going to have to be cut before the World Cup team, but I think it's a pretty interesting team, so I want to get into it and talk about it. So in goal, I'm going with 4 goalkeepers: Matt Turner, Zack, Steffen, Ethan Horvath, and Gabriel Slonina. So goalkeeper's like a really weird position for us at the moment because I think there's a bit of a starting battle between Zack, Steffen, and Matt Turner, and I think Zack Steffen also has to battle to make the team as well. Same with Ethan Horvath, to be honest, and I think Sean Johnson, there's no real reason to bring him into the team, just in my opinion. But I think Gabriel Slonina, he's probably the worst of those 3, probably worse than Sean Johnson, but what he's doing at such a young age, you have to take notice of, and I really would like to get him that World Cup experience, so when he does really start to hit his ceiling, like, it'll be good to bring him. Like, honestly, we only need a 23-man squad. Like, I'd consider just bringing 4 goalkeepers if we're not confident in, because, like, that last spot's not going to go anywhere. So with Zack Steffen, I think it's really interesting because he's kind of the make or break point with this team, because he has such a bad injury record that I don't think you can really justify taking Slonina if you have Steffen on the roster, because there's a good chance that he gets hurt and we're down to 2 goalkeepers. But if we bring Turner and Horvath, I think I would feel comfortable with bringing Slonina. And Zack Steffen, he's been in pretty bad form to start things off in Middlesbrough. He's been making a ton of mistakes. There's an injury risk I already mentioned. And I think I might feel more confident bringing Ethan Horvath as the backup and having Gabriel Slonina in the team. Horvath's been better in the championship so far, and I'm starting to lean towards bringing Ethan Horvath to the squad, which sucks. For me, Steffen's like a really local guy to Philadelphia. Like, I remember he was on the Columbus crew. I went to a Philadelphia Union game. He was there, and like he had such a big supporter section like just for him. So like I don't want to like lose him, but I don't think I can really justify keeping him on the team unless he really starts to show improvement in the championship. And if he does, he has a good chance to start. But at the current moment, I think I'd probably leave him off for Slonina. Next at center back, going with 7 guys. We got Chris Richards, Walker Zimmerman, Cameron Carter-Vickers, John Brooks, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, and James Sands. My rationale for bringing that many is we can say Tim Ream is competing for a left-back job. We can say James Sands is also capable of playing in the midfield. I think it's decent to bring like that many. Chris Richards is the obvious starter. He needs to be playing every game for us. He should have been a locked-in starter for like 3 years now, but better late than never. Walker Zimmerman, I feel like he's got a decently high floor, but a very low ceiling as well. Like, I think we know what we're going to get out of him. It's just, not that good. Cameron Carter-Vickers, I really like. I think he should be, I'm talking myself into thinking he should be starting alongside Chris Richards, especially if we're going with the back two. I really like his athleticism. He's shown some good stuff playing out the back. Like, I'm pretty confident in Cameron Carter-Vickers right now. John Brooks, he actually wouldn't have been in this team if he hadn't signed for Benfica like recently. I actually did have him out, but he's still too quality of a player. I like his experience in a World Cup that he brings, and I liked his leadership. Like, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but everything I saw of John Brooks means he should be in the team. Mark McKenzie's probably my wild card. I'm going with him over like a Matt Miazga or an Eric Palmer-Brown, or I guess an Aaron Long. I just like Mark McKenzie in a back two, I think, more than everybody else. Matt Miazga, I think he got his chance. He didn't really pan out. Eric Palmer-Brown, I don't feel great about leaving him off, especially instead of a guy like Tim Ream and James Sands, but I don't think he brings anything to the table that Mark McKenzie doesn't. Like, Mark McKenzie's really good with the ball at his feet, a great athlete defensively, like, can get up for headers. Like, we've seen mistakes in him before, which is why I'm not too confident in him, but I think, and I probably wouldn't have him on my World Cup squad right now. I'd probably have him behind James Sands, Tim Ream, the first 4, but I think he does have enough upside that I'd want to bring him in, get him a look right now. Tim Ream, he can poorly play at left back, but Jedi might be injured, so I guess you can justify testing him against Sam Vines, who is going to be in the team. But I think he's earned a call-up, given him starting at Fulham. I mean, they're not exactly doing great, but especially defensively. But I think he's earned a chance. I think he's just a worse version of John Brooks right now. Like, decent playing the ball at the back, but it was always weird that he was dropped because I assumed he's one of Berhalter's favorites, but I never thought it was a bad thing. And then James Sands, starting in a Champions League club with Rangers. We know he can do a job at midfield, especially if we go to a back three. I'd feel pretty comfortable with him at center back. He's shown a lot of growth recently, and I think right now he'd probably make my World Cup squad as one of our 24, 25, 26 spots. Getting somebody who we know can do a job, and that if we switch to a back three, can help in at midfield. I probably wouldn't have him in the team if it was 23, but with the extra spot available, I think I'd bring in James Sands right now. Next, we got fullbacks. We got 5 of them. Sergiño, Dest, Jedi, hopefully he's healthy, Joe Scally, DeAndre Yedlin, and Sam Vines. I think the only 2 people I really have to justify not being here are Reggie Cannon. He did not offer anything offensively. I think he's probably going to end up being a center back long term. And, can he play a right-sided center back role? I guess, but I don't think he does it better than Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie. Honestly, even I would rather have an Eric Palmer-Brown in the team than him. I don't think we gain anything by having Reggie Cannon in this team, especially he might be a slight upgrade over DeAndre Yedlin, but DeAndre Yedlin has that experience at a World Cup, and I want to have somebody with experience in the squad, and I know that John Brooks isn't going to be in the team, so I think it has to be DeAndre Yedlin by default right now. So I want to have Yedlin in over Cannon, and Jonathan Gomez, I want him in, I think, personally, but I don't think I can justify calling him up. Then, we got some other players. Dest, easy call. He's got to be a starter, locked in, even though he hasn't been playing the best, or has had a weird spell at Barcelona. He hasn't played at all, really, this year. Just got on in the Champions League yesterday. But Dest has got to be in the team. We have to build around him. Jedi, definitely our first choice at left back. Kind of undroppable by default. We don't have anybody really challenging him, which is another reason why maybe we should try to cap-tie Jonathan Gomez, but we're not going to do that. Then we have Joe Scally in the team. I think he's undroppable at this point. He can provide some versatility, and he's shown a pretty big step forward, similar to James Sands through the summer, so I really want him in the team. DeAndre Yedlin I justified, and Sam Vines is probably our only real true backup left back option right now. I think we honestly might have to test if he does better than a Joe Scally or even a Tim Ream at that left back role, and if he doesn't, is what it is. I have never really been too impressed by Sam Vines. He's gotten off to a decent start in Belgium right now, so I think it's worth giving him a test, but I'm not confident in him if he has to come on. Then at the defensive midfield, the 6, we got 3 players I want to talk about. Tyler Adams, Kellyn Acosta, and Johnny Cardoso. Johnny Cardoso has been doing very well in Brazil, and I think it's worth calling him up. I don't think he'll end up making the team. I'll be honest, even with the national team, I think Kellyn Acosta's outplayed him, and I'm not exactly a Kellyn Acosta fan. And I think I've really liked the leadership that I've seen from Kellyn Acosta, and especially in a backup role, I would probably prefer to bring Acosta at the moment. But I think Johnny's earned a call-up similar to Tim Ream. Tyler Adams, has to be a starter. It is what it is. Acosta, hopefully he doesn't see the field outside of, 20-minute cameos when we're sealing up a lead. I'm honestly not even too confident in him there, but he's going to be in the team. Johnny, I would like to give him a chance because I think he's a better backup than Acosta as a backup 6. It's just Acosta can offer more as a substitute, I think. But, so you have to see if he'd even be worth bringing over James Sands, but I think he's justified being called in. Then we got, I'm just going to say the midfield, the 8s and the wingers all in one because we have so much overlap there. Weston McKennie, Yunus Musah, Luca de la Torre, Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, Brenden Aaronson, Tim Weah, Malik Tillman. Only players who I really feel bad about leaving out are Gianluca Busio. I thought he was actually off to a really good start, but I think he's had some injuries, and I think he probably needs to wait a little bit before he gets into the national team, especially given how good our 8 situation is. Probably the best situation on the team. I don't think I have to justify leaving off Christian Roldan. I don't think I have to justify leaving off Paul Arriola. Like, he's just, like, I don't even think I'd have Josh Sargent on the team for sure, but I'd rather have Josh Sargent than Paul Arriola. And Jordan Morris, no. If you want them in the team, I'm not going to be the guy to change your mind, you know. Weston McKennie, easy pick, probably going to be starting alongside Tyler Adams. Yunus, Musah, him and Brenden Aaronson is a really good problem of who to start. I actually don't know, and I'm really excited to see how that pans out because either of them would be very good. Then we have to throw Gio Reyna into the conversation. Just like, he's too talented to not have in the team. Like, if fitness is an issue, making him a super sub is possible, but like, if he can give you 60 minutes, you have to start him. And then Luca de la Torre is like on the outside looking in, but he's a very talented player as well. I'd love to see him coming off the bench in some games. Malik Tillman, he can also make an impact. He's been off to a pretty good start at Rangers, and given that Berhalter seems to like him, like, I feel like he's got a realistic chance of making the team, and he's probably not going to have a chance to impact the game at all. So I'd much rather have him in the squad than a Paul Arriola or Jordan Morris. And given that I'm bringing up a Kellyn Acosta when I'm not sure if he really deserves it, I'm bringing DeAndre Yedlin. We're calling in Walker Zimmerman, Tim Ream, hopefully John Brooks. Like, I feel decent about leaving off veterans. Like, I never really rated Paul Arriola. Jordan Morris has not recovered from his injuries. So, like, I feel good about bringing Malik Tillman. He's maybe one for the future, but definitely somebody who's pretty exciting. Then at the wing, Pulisic, Weah. Pulisic, bit of rough form right now, but he's too good. You have to start him. Tim Weah, no, he's kind of hasn't had the best run of form at Lille, and maybe that gives a chance for like a Brenden Aaronson to start ahead of him. But he's been so good for the national team, and I think he'd be great in a super sub role anyway. Like, he's obviously in the team, but like, man, between like McKennie, Musah, Reyna, Pulisic, Aaronson, and Weah, we can only have 4 of them in the squad, and it's a great problem to have. And then Luca de la Torre and Malik Tillman on the outside looking in. Like, that's an amazing situation at the Aiden wing. Lastly, we got striker, and I'm going to be calling in 4 players. I think there are 4 that I'd really like to get a look at. Jesus Ferreira, Haji Wright, Jordan Pefok, and Josh Sargent. Ricardo Pepi, he's probably been the only striker who's really impressed for the national team, but I don't think you can justify bringing him into the squad. He's been in horrible form for about a year now. Like, it is what it is. Hopefully he has a really good run in the Netherlands and he can make it a conversation, but I'm not too sure about that. Then Brandon Vasquez, I watched him. I don't think I can justify bringing him in. He's in good MLS form. So is Jeremy Balbese. So was Yazi Zardes before. Like, I don't really care. Like, it is what it is. I don't think he brings anything that Jordan Pefok doesn't, and Pefok's been doing it at a higher level. For our strikers, Jesus Ferreira, he's probably more of a 10, but he's in good enough form, and he has good technical ability, like enough that I can justify calling him into the team. He's still a very young player. I'm excited about his potential, but I'm not too sure if he does a job at a 9, and I think he hasn't impressed for the national team at all, and I wouldn't, like, I'll be honest, last window, him and Haji Wright scoring a penalty against a World Cup goalkeeper is more impressive than anything Jesus Ferreira did. And I mean that completely sincerely. Like, I think Haji Wright, he's in really good form at the moment. He's been in form for a while. I thought he looked good when he played for the national team. You know, he has a lot of chemistry with, like, the Pulisic, McKennie, Adams, De La Torre. I think he has a lot more experience as well than Jesus Ferreira. Like, he won abroad at a very young age. He's played in a ton of different nations. He's played with like a lot of really talented players as well. Like, I think it was Raul that he got to play under a little bit. Like, I think he's like, I don't know how to really explain this. Like, because Haji Wright's a young player still, he's only going to get better. But like, I think when he came onto the field, I kind of just had a feeling of like, oh man, it is nice to have like an experienced player who knows what he's doing. Like, I think that was just my feeling on it, and I think Haji Wright can compete for a starting role, and I'd like to have him in the squad. Jordan Pefalk is probably our best striker at the moment. The question is, does he fit into the team very well? He's a big aerial threat, and we're not a team that really specializes in crossing. Like, our players who would do that, like Pulisic, he likes to cut in more. Weah can do it well, but I think we like to have him as a goal-scoring threat a little bit more. Jedi is very inconsistent with crossing. Dest, he kind of cuts in as well a little bit. Like, we don't really have... He doesn't really play to our strengths, but he's too good a player to leave off at this point. Like, he's in too good form. And Josh Sargent, he probably fits our team the most. Good technical ability, great presser, can combine well, and his finishing's finally coming along. Like, I think, especially given the level of play that we're going to be at, he's going to be playing as, like, not a bad team in Wales and Iran, but, like, I think they are, like, minus Ben Davies, it's a championship-level defense we're going to be going up against. And I think Josh Sargent proves he can do well against them. That's a similar argument I have to Cameron Carter-Vickers starting. He's been doing great at this level. So Wales is the money game. Like, that's the one this knockout, the group stage is going to be decided against. So I'd feel confident starting Josh Sargent. I think he should be in this team. And yeah, that's my opinions on the squad right now. 31 players deep. I think at the moment I'd probably cut Zack, Steffen, Mark McKenzie, Tim Ream, Johnny, and maybe Ferreira. Is that 5? Ferreira, Johnny, Kenzie, Ream, Steffen. Yeah, that's probably who I'd cut at the moment. I think our locks for the team right now are Matt Turner, Chris Richards, Walker Zimmerman, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Dest, Scally, Jedi, Adams, Acosta, McKennie, Musah, De La Torre, Reyna, Pulisic, Aaronson, Weah, and I think that's just about it, those 16. Probably 10 spots up for grabs. Like, that's ideal. Unfortunately, we're probably going to get Paul Arriola, Jordan Morris, Aaron Long in the squad, which, I don't think they offer anything. I don't think they ever offered anything, and at least at this level, and they certainly don't after all the injuries they've had. Honestly, we're talking about Gio Reyna's injury risk. Like, if Paul Arriola goes 90 minutes playing at a high level, he's pulling a hamstring or something. Like, he's not any less of a risk than bringing Gio Reyna. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I think we have a lot of potential in the squad. If we bring up, those 31 that I was talking about, I'd be very excited. Like, honestly, I'd love to see Jonathan Gomez in this, just to cap tie him. I'll be honest, it's kind of a scummy thing to do, but I don't really care. But, yeah, that's all I really have to talk about. It's a really good-looking team at the moment, and hopefully we can have some fun with it. Yeah, that's all I'll talk about right now. See ya.